Most of us will have negative karma of some kind that we are working through. It can't be avoided really, but the one thing we certainly don't want to do is to invoke or incur more negative karma by the magical work that we do. So I have 2 tips here which will help in that regard. Now, hexing and cursing is quite a popular subject at the moment, it seems, but I think most people understand that that's probably not a good idea in terms of rebound and the effects it's going to have on our own spiritual selves. Wiccans have quite a strict ethical and moral code, and that's expressed in the threefold law, which is if you harm others, it will come back to you 3 times as severely. I'm not a Wiccan, but I certainly, I may not buy into the 3 times as severely, but I do believe that in harming others you are opening yourself up to being harmed yourself. That seems a fairly logical thing to be happening in terms of the universe and the workings thereof. Donald Tyson, who's the author of Familiar Spirits as well as quite a few other works, has this to say: if you persist in trying to get your own way in spite of karmic consequences, the difficulties in your life will multiply. So the first tip I would share is about being specific in your wording. So whenever you consider doing a magical working, you should examine your intent very closely for other reasons apart from this. The words you will use have great importance. Your words and your intent must match exactly. There must be no ambiguity and no chance for misinterpretation. This sort of deliberation is part of the magical working itself. It's a magical undertaking which feeds into the main body of the spell or ritual. As soon as the notion of a spell is in your awareness, the spell has begun. So it's important never to rush through the process to get the ritual firing and to completion. This is all part of the to know part of the witch's pyramid. This is quite fundamental to beginning spell work. So write and edit and make sure that your intent and your words are bulletproof. Again, from the Wiccan read, there is the codicil, and it harm none, do what ye will. And this is something that should be built into every spell or magical working to keep everyone safe. I usually use words such as and it caused no harm to man nor beast. This is a binding element which, as I say, should really be built into every working. Wherever possible, and I don't know whether this needs saying or not, but avoid working or doing any magical work on another person, because this interferes with their free will, and it has great potential to cause harm to the practitioner as well as to the other person. So rather than working on another person, switch your perspective around so that you're working on a situation, or perhaps to improve a relationship. But perhaps one of the most important things that I learned when I read Modern Magic by Donald Michael Craig was to do divination before magic, before doing your spell work, or before even thinking about how you're going to proceed with spell work. Do divination. And this is one of the reasons that it's important to have a system of divination, whatever that might be, whether it's tarot, which I personally use, or I can't think of another system on the off the top of my head right now, but all I can think of is dominoes. But whatever it is you use, it's important to have some kind of divination tool that you can use. In Michael Craig's words, and I paraphrase, he talks about making sure that even when you're doing grey magic, it doesn't merge into the area of black magic. So that's why you're doing divination, because we have, and even then I don't think it's totally foolproof, we are working with energies and things, entities, beings. Magic itself is not safe. So we can only do so much to ensure our own safety and that of our loved ones or anyone else involved in the operation. And he talks about making sure that we're not veering into the area of black magic unintentionally, because we probably don't intend to cause harm of any kind. But by doing divination before we begin, it's a safeguard. It can tell us whether it's a good idea to proceed or whether the indications are against it. So that, I think, is probably one of the most important tips that I've certainly picked up over the years. And I hope these ideas are helpful to you in some way. Blessings to you all.